Here on Pillow Talk with Dr. Zackarina, we believe that taking care of your health is just as important as having a good time, and Vivint Health is here to make sure you can do both. For decades, Vivint Health has been breaking barriers in HIV care and prevention, offering free HIV STI testing, access to PrEP, and expert support for people living with HIV. Their services are built on compassion, dignity, and real community care. No insurance, no ID, no judgment. Just the resources you need to stay safe and healthy. They also run LifePoint, a harm reduction program providing syringe access, overdose prevention with Narcan, and connections to treatment, because everyone deserves support no matter where they are in their journey. Your health is worth protecting, and Vivint Health is here to help. Visit vivanthealth.org to learn more and take control of your well-being today. Welcome back to Pillow Talk, your intimate drag podcast where we talk all things sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But instead of rock and roll, it's more like a top 40s pop. Maybe like a, who's your favorite diva? Who's your go-to?
Beyonce, obviously.
I am going to flex on you slightly. I did just go see Cowboy Carter.
Oh, you lucky.
It was amazing.
You're so lucky.
It was amazing.
I saw Renaissance World Tour, and that was amazing.
And that was the biggest mistake of my life. The fact that I didn't. I'm going to take it to the grave. On my deathbed, be like, what do you regret most in life? And I'd be like, so there was this tour. And I didn't
one
go
tour,
to
yeah.
it.
So I felt about Formation, so I was like, now I got to go see Renaissance because
Oh my God.
if I miss that.
We immediately, this can become a Beyonce podcast. So
Right.
But it is like more of a top 40s pop, more like a Beyonce moment. But we talk about all of your favorite things, sex, partying, relationships, and in intimate settings. So this podcast is brought to you by Denver Element. Denver Element's been serving our queer community here in Colorado for over 15 years. Woohoo! Doing free HIV and STI testing, mental health support, groups, community outings, like all the fun things. So make sure you check them out at denverelement.org. And while you're online, check out Pillow Talk at Pillow Talk Dr. Z. That's Pillow Talk DRZ to see all of our clips and to get notified when we post, which is every single week, Tuesdays. So pour up your nightcap, snuggle up in your PJs, and get ready for some Pillow Talk with me and my super special guest, Chad, aka G.
Oh, so nice to be here.
The audience is going crazy. The live studio
I
audience.
know.
You guys can't hear it, but it's loud.
I know.
Here.
It's pretty crazy in
Oh my
the
gosh.
studio.
We're so excited to have you here.
Yes, I'm really excited to be here.
I am super excited because Chad, also known as G on social media, has been working in the amateur online sex work industry, OnlyFans, all that good stuff, for almost 4 years now, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
So excited to pick your brain and hear all about the stories.
Yeah.
And all of your opinions.
I have a couple.
I can only imagine. You can follow Chad on Twitter and Blue Sky at CSTango92. The Twitter, can we talk about your Twitter feed? I love it so much.
Oh, thank you.
Your videos are obviously very fun and hot, but what makes me the happiest is the tweets in between.
Yeah.
Of like you, it's
I gotta be careful.
fun video, and then it's you talking about the lock picking on Oblivion versus Skyrim.
Yeah.
And I'm
You
like,
can go anywhere.
I'm locking in of like, okay, yeah, no, I also, it's so much harder in Oblivion.
I want to be a human, you know? So, like, that's what I hate about OnlyFans creators a lot of times is it's strictly like, I'm just this creator. This is all I am. And I'm a human being, so, like, my feed, you'll get everything. My opinions on anything.
Yep. No,
Sometimes that'll get me in trouble.
I've recently gotten into like posting on Twitter, and it's so fun.
Be careful.
Just put a little tweet. It has the Denver
There are
drug scene knows.
Dark corners.
It has gotten me in trouble a few times with a couple of drunk and angry tweets. So sorry, Denver Drag Olympics. But I love it. It's a fun Twitter feed, and we'll get all into it. But on our last episode, talking with Fupa, we were talking about how like when it comes to porn and when it comes to all of that, it's like knowing that there's a human behind it, so much better.
Yeah.
So much more enjoyable.
Something that you can relate to.
Right.
You know?
God forbid.
Not just like, because, I mean, a lot of these guys are like unrealistically attractive. And so it's like, if you don't have that human personality behind it, it's like a robot almost.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So it can get weird.
Yeah. And especially like all the studios and like the overproduction of stuff. I'm like, is this even porn at this? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. It's been getting, like, the more people who get into OnlyFans, the weirder it's getting, you know? We're getting back into that toxic studio spot again because we don't want people to be their own business people. We're hiring managers and studios to do all the work for us, which I don't have. But
like a ghostwriter, you know? Like that's when I first learned, I think it was like a mandatory meeting on Drag Race was like, yeah, I'm an OnlyFans
I wish
ghost
I could find her. A version of her.
That's so
Amanda,
fun.
if you have friends doing it, let me know.
Like the idea of you could just be like chatting with a mandatory meeting.
Right. And it's, you know, it would make my life a lot easier if I didn't have to respond to everybody, but so I get why people would do it.
Right. No.
But it is interesting to know that there could be a drag queen behind this, you know, doing all the talking.
It's me talking to you for better and for worse.
Yeah, you need to, once I get there, I'll hire you.
Honestly, if there's one thing I love, it's talking. So I just gotta get better at texting. You know, I gotta get the fingers rewarmed up.
Yeah.
But here on Pillow Talk, we always like to have a little start where we do a pillow confession, which is some story about sex, partying, drugs, relationships, all that kind of circle that encompasses it. And we share it. It can be funny, it can be silly, it can be embarrassing, it can be something you learned and growed from. But Chad, what is your pillow confession for us?
Okay, so I have I think it's a pretty good one. It's pretty funny, a little embarrassing, but you know, it is what it is. So I don't know, maybe 2-3 years ago, right when I was first starting the OnlyFans stuff, and I had just moved out to Colorado. I moved here in 2020. So
and originally in North Carolina,
right? Originally from the South, North Carolina, Charlotte.
Oh my God, I was a Raleigh boy.
See, we had to stay in the cities because it gets weird out.
And even those cities, it gets a little dry.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the same people, and they're seeing the same people back.
Right, exactly. I'm
like, we're all still here, boys. Yeah.
Yep. So I moved out here, started to get settled, was starting to really start getting into the OnlyFans thing post-pandemic. We're getting out of lockdown and stuff. And there was a pretty famous mainstream porn star. I'm not going to name drop, but he did win a pretty big award last year.
Wow.
Whoa. Yeah. So he's pretty well known. But he was in town and he was in Denver. So somehow we started talking on Twitter. He wanted somebody to come up there and do a little, you know, fuckity fuck. Can I? Yeah.
Yeah. Babe, all of that. You can say all the words, all the things.
Okay, just making sure. So we wanted to have a little fun before he had to go do his event in one of the clubs here, and so I drove the 2 hours from Pueblo to get up to Denver for this. And I told him that I'm down in Pueblo, that I'm 2 hours away.
Right.
Halfway up, he texted me. He's like, where you at? And I'm like, well, I told you it takes 2 hours and we're 1 hour in. So I'll be there soon. Got to the hotel, did valet. He answered the door. He's gorgeous, sexy as hell, just like he is in all the movies and everything. So
love.
Gorgeous. We get right to it since he's already naked, and we just start stripping, getting right to it. His butt tastes like vanilla. And it was the most interesting thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Like
vanilla.
Did it okay, was there like a you know when you're like eating something like waxy, like was it like no,
just it tasted, it was like not even like lube.
What?
It tastes like vanilla. I was like, I don't know what you did, but
and you never found out what it was?
I didn't have time to ask. So this was post-COVID. I already had COVID. I think COVID gave me performance anxiety, especially when it comes to like driving anxiety on the way, which is when I learned that maybe sometimes I'm like in my 30s now, so maybe sometimes I might need a little pill here and there to help with you know, driving up for 2 hours, all that anxiety you drive up with.
Right.
Get there, you know, you might have a little performance anxiety with all the cameras in front of you. So that's when I learned I needed them. Obviously I didn't have them, but in the midst of trying to make it work, I was just like, let's relax. I felt like I was irritating him at that point, but there was something on TV. I was like, let's relax for a second and just like watch TV for a second. And Bridesmaids was playing. Funniest movie in the freaking world, right?
Love.
Everybody loves Bridesmaids.
I'm paying attention to the movie at that point.
Right. So it's the scene where they just had the Mexican food and they're trying on dresses, right? The funniest fucking scene in the entire movie. I am cracking up. This man is slate staring. No laughter, no smile. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go.
Yeah.
If you can't laugh at Bridesmaids, I don't want to fuck you, I don't think.
No. No. You're like, okay, I know we've got like business and work to do, but also like, girl, this is a funny movie.
Can you be human for, like we were talking, can you be not a robot, not a sex robot?
Yeah.
Like, I understand maybe you're trying to get like in the mood for your event, but also I just ate your ass for like 30 minutes straight.
Right.
That should help a little bit, you know?
Right. That should be like, hey, at least it's,
you know,
like
that's
there's nothing
something.
going.
Yeah. And if you relax a little bit with me, maybe we can get it going. But that turned me off. And I was like, if you can't find humor in the moment, I can't get with you anymore. And I just went home. I drove another 2 hours back home.
No.
Yeah.
What was the cumulative amount of time in Denver at that point?
Probably like an hour and a half.
Damn.
I drove 2 hours to only be here for an hour and a half.
4
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah, right. From to and fro. So yeah, it was a waste of time. But the funny part is, all these years later, okay, he who must not be named is now the president of Twitter. So
Love.
we all are starting to vacate to B-Sky. I'm vacating over there. So does he at the same time. And then he follows me, but he unfollowed me on Twitter after I had left.
Ooh.
Right? So weird, right? But he followed me on that, and I was like, "You don't remember who I am, do you?" And I told him, he was like, "I don't remember that at all." And I was like, "You know what? Maybe that's for the best."
Oh.
When you're hooking up so much, you don't even remember the bad times. You know what? Good for you.
I mean, kind of a great situation.
I wasn't upset
Like,
about it. Yeah, I was like, you know what? Maybe there will be a second time around, and we can make it work the second time around. You know, I don't have any hard feelings about it because I came up and I didn't realize I had this problem, and this problem happened, and I wasted both of our times. But
right.
you know, it wasn't a huge deal in my opinion, and we all moved on. So why not try fucking again? It tastes like vanilla.
I need to know more because I'm like,
me too.
I remember one time, I think it was Vanessa Vanjie Mateo was like, after on your last rinse of a douche, put a single drop of Listerine in, which sounds like I don't think that could be good in any way, shape, or form for you. But she's like, but then it gives a little minty taste.
Now it's spearmint.
Yeah, like a little ooh.
That would shock me so much if I tasted mint, but I wouldn't be upset about it.
It would be like recoil and like okay, like
You're
I mean,
right.
you know.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe it was like he put like vanilla. What's that stuff called? Vanilla extract. Maybe he did a little vanilla.
Oh,
that's the only thing I can think of. Unless there's like a vanilla scrub out there, maybe.
but then there would be like a soapy or like thing.
Something, I don't know. It just tastes like a vanilla cookie.
Wow. Oh my
I
god.
wasn't upset, and I wish I had found out. That's the one question I should have asked him was, what did you do so I can let everybody else know in the future what to do?
If your ass tastes like vanilla, let
us know. Please.
Sound off in the comments below. DM us. Do whatever. Send
Give us the
anonymous
clue so I can let all the bottoms know, because I need to know.
I would love to be known as the guy that has a vanilla tasting ass.
Yeah, boy pussy. Yeah, great.
Yes. Oh wait, okay, so you said boy pussy. What's your go-to word?
Pussy.
I love.
It is. Some guys don't like it, but a lot of guys these days especially seem to really like it.
Yeah.
I just think it's prettier than whole.
Yeah,
like if I'm fucking it, it's gotta I'm gotta be into it, you know. And so a pussy's pretty.
Yeah,
an asshole is not.
Asshole is stinky butthole. Like it's like like a pussy is more. I don't really care too much. I'm very much a person that is interested in pleasing the other person. So like whatever's gonna float your boat, go.
That's why I'm a top.
Diva. Yeah, like do it.
I'm a giver and a pleaser.
Love that.
Yeah.
Chaperone.
Yeah.
is rolling in her grave right now, being like, yeah, everyone's a giver.
I have. So I got into topping in the first place, you know?
I love that. I say I'm verse, which means I'm a verse bottom, which means I'm a bottom that doesn't douche. And so
sure you understand.
Right. And when I say I'm verse, I expect everybody else to know exactly that. But I am not a top because I'm like, that's too much effort. I'm just lazy.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of people think that it's no work being a top because you don't got to prep, but it's everything after the prep is up to me.
Literally.
You know, and that for me, I can last a while. That could be 2-3 hours for all you know. So like, you know, it could take, well, yeah.
Would you go continuously or like with breaks?
Oh, we might take a break here and there, but if you can handle it, then we can keep going. And if I'm enjoying it, you know, we can keep going. I can usually go for a while.
I am kind of like, I don't want to say I'm mid at sex, but I'm not trying to do anything.
I'm certainly no expert. I'm not claiming to be like the expert in topping.
You're the expert in the room, at least, right?
I think I do okay with what I do. I've made many a man happy, and I will continue to do so. That's the best. But I want to get better every time, you know?
Yeah. I love that. Oh my gosh. Pillow confession, 2 hours. I think that's unfortunately such a common situation for so many gays, especially like younger gays in rural areas or like outside the big city. And it's like, I'm trying to go get laid, so I'm going to drive an hour and a half to go to this place.
These city girls, they don't know.
No. And I remember like, so being in Raleigh, there were a lot of divas that would come in, you know, and there were like only a couple of gay bars within a 100-mile radius.
Yeah.
So everybody was flocking to Raleigh from the different places.
Same with Charlotte, you know? It's like the biggest pride event in the Southeast for, I think, except for like maybe Atlanta.
Right. I would believe that for sure.
Yeah.
And then with that, people are just used to it. People are like, yeah, I drive an hour and a half for sex.
Yeah.
Like that's
So
normal.
I actually live like right outside, 45 minutes outside of Charlotte,
Mhm.
and then I moved into Charlotte. But for most of my life, it was like, well, I'm just gonna make a 45-minute drive. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's normal.
Normal
It's just
work
the way
commute,
it
and then
goes.
it's a sex commute too. You know,
Work commute, literally. Yeah. Hit some like grocery stores on the way, like make it a whole
yeah.
trip.
Yeah, if I don't want to just stare at cows all night, then I gotta. If I want to see some butt, I gotta go where the butt is.
Literally, yeah.
Gotta go to the watering hole.
One of our guests from one of the first couple of episodes, Zamora, shout out. She was in Greeley and drove an hour or something to go to. Literally, she was like exactly, and then went to Boulder to hook up with somebody.
I don't blame her. I've been to Greeley one time.
Yeah.
There's probably more cows than there's people out there, right?
It says okay. That is like the number one through line when it comes to Greeley. Have not been there. Don't really intend to go there. Maybe I need to for the plot or
Yeah.
just, like for more context. But like everyone is always like it's Cowtown. That's what they call it.
And just flat. Yeah. Which is weird because Colorado, but
yeah.
but
True.
before you get here, it's just flat.
When I was driving and moving across from North Carolina, we as in me and myself and the Selling Sunset that I was watching, Kansas, and it's so flat. I was like, I could drive off the road right now and still moving and cruising.
Yeah, I couldn't have done that. I just hopped on a one-way plane and I just got here.
I wish.
It was nice.
My Toyota
Mid-pandemic, I was in a row by myself. You know, there was nobody flying at the time. It was literally August 2020, so we'd been in lockdown for like 2-3 months.
Right.
I flew through TSA, flew here in an hour.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll freaking do it.
It was pretty nice, but I got here as soon as like all those fires were happening, so
oh yeah,
I didn't even get to see the mountains for like the first 2-3 weeks that I got here.
You're like, I think I'm in Colorado.
Yeah,
I actually don't.
There's like
know.
this shadow of a mountain back there.
Oh my god, I have definitely done my fair share of like driving for dick, driving for a man, or one of my pillow confessions, and this is like slightly embarrassing that I let it go on for so long, but I sat in like a parking lot for an hour once.
Looking.
No, not even looking. It was like going to the guy and he doesn't respond once I get like it's like responding. I get there and there's no response. And then there's a response. It's like, oh hey, sorry. And then I'm like, oh okay, so like I am physically here. Are you ready? Do you still want to do this? If not, like no stress, just let me know.
Top 2.
Yeah.
Disrespectful.
I know. And I was just like, I was down. I was like ready to clown. I was ready to like do whatever. And so then he does, it was a lot of like, what is it? Like not breadcrumbing, but where you kind of like give a little and pull back.
Yeah.
Maybe that is breadcrumbing. I don't know. They've got all the words for it. Ghosting,
like
breadcrumbing, zombie.
Gaslighting sounds like.
Probably, literally. So then he was like, and then I was like maybe 20 minutes. And then he was like, sorry, I fell asleep. And I was like, okay, cool. Which like apartment house are you? Oh, I'm in this area. I was like, yeah, which one? So then I was like, are you just fucking with me? Like, is this like, I was
10 minutes in without a response, I'd be like, all right, we're getting back on the apps and we're going to figure something out because I'm already out now.
The thing for me, well, and I was on the apps too, because I was like, I need a contingency plan at this point.
Right.
But when I am like ready to go, I'm like, I need it now. I will compromise my morals, my values, my beliefs. I will compromise everything about myself. And if I'm set on it, I'm like, got to see it through. Like I just, for better and for worse. So I sat there for an hour, but it was like every 20 minutes he was commenting, and then
work on you being able to drop it when it needs to be dropped.
Yeah, I mean, I to be fair, I have not done that now since, which has been really, really solid. But like, it was a very humbling moment driving back.
You only have to have it one time to have a lesson learned, you know?
Exactly, where it was just like, ooh, girl, that was a little. That was a little. And it was broad daylight too. It wasn't like if it was like a 10 p.m.
Wow.
It was
so
God could still
sleep while the sun was up. Yeah.
I'm like, it's 3 p.m. Your nap time should have been a little while ago.
Right.
You know, wake up, bitch.
Right.
Yeah. So God could still see. People were walking around, but I think was like on TikTok at the same time. So it did. I was getting lost in online, whatever.
Scrolling, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. So that's my pillow confession, and it's like, ooh. But I think
at least you didn't drive 5 hours, 4 hours.
It was just the hour was sat there.
Yeah,
I guess is
better just 1 than 4.
Right.
You know.
Pueblo. What's the Pueblo scene like? Non-existent.
Not really much of one. It's very small. I will say I'm proud of Pueblo for having pride events still, even though they're super small.
Yeah.
Just because I think every small town should at least try to have one. If there is even a couple queer people, just make sure that they know that your community is like there for you.
Yeah.
That's one thing I really appreciate about living in Colorado is like, as opposed to living in a former Confederate state.
Yeah.
Below
the Mason-Dixon.
Below the Mason-Dixon, it's like, it gets weird. Here in Colorado, I feel like politicians maybe they're not always the best, but they
Mhm.
aren't going to let me get screwed over,
Yeah.
you know? So I do feel that way. It's nice living in a blue state as opposed to like a swing state.
Right, right.
Right.
I always used to say, like, North Carolina, you go into certain counties and it's like a down the ballot. If it is a red county, it is a red
Mhm.
county. If
Yep.
you're in a blue county, it is a blue county. You know, you can expect certain cultural setups. And so that made it more of like pride. We're in very select areas.
Yeah.
Versus I do a lot of stuff up in like kind of the mountains areas, like Summit County, Vale County or Eagle County, Vale, all those kind of places. And you would think because it's like the fun ski resorts that they have a lot of queer stuff, but they really don't.
No.
There's not a huge creation of it. And so huge shout out Mountain Pride, an amazing queer nonprofit up in the mountain areas creating these. It's so everyone comes out.
Yeah.
Both like you've got your allies coming out and everyone's supporting, but there is so much of a queer community. And I'm a firm believer of you shouldn't have to move to feel a part of a community.
Right.
If you are like, I want to live up in the mountains, if I want to live in Pueblo, whether it's work, family, just your life, you shouldn't have to move. And so to have that community is so important.
Yeah. I feel the same way, honestly. And that's how I mean, Charlotte had a pretty decent community. I will say
Right.
that. But I mean, right next door where I lived in Union County, like you said, Charlotte's very blue, but Union County's so red, like my vote didn't even matter there. So it gets
Cool.
weird. Here, at least, it seems like there's a lot of variety.
Yeah.
I-25 line is pretty safe.
Right.
You know, as long as you're sticking around there, it's usually pretty good. And there's a little spot in between Denver and Pueblo that gets a little weird, but you know, that's not neither here nor there. But they have their own community too, and
Yeah.
I will say, like, even after what was it, Club Q?
Mhm.
Even after all that went down, even the heterosexual people in
Yeah.
the Springs were super mortified by something like that happening. I remember I went and got flowers to go put out at the memorial there because it's pretty close to, like, that probably is like 45 minutes away from me.
Right.
So I was like, I'm gonna make the trip up there,
Yeah.
and lay out some flowers. And I stopped at a little local shop there and told them why I was getting the flowers, and they added some extra flowers on top of that for me. And I was like, that's so sweet that people are like really putting in to stand up against this crap,
Right.
you know, when it goes down. So that's something I like about Colorado that you don't necessarily get all the time in the South.
Yeah. There is a lot more support socially for everybody to exist. And obviously, like legislation wise, we do have a lot more protections here in Colorado. So like
Yep.
you see a lot more people moving into the state. And so it's nice and it's important. And then it's also important not to get comfortable in it of like, okay, we still have to be a community.
Right.
We still gotta like support each other. Yes,
Fight's not over.
Exactly. We can joke and, you know, throw a little shade with our queer community, but like we gotta be united.
Yep.
We gotta work together.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Well, I'm so excited because I really want to ask you and learn more about your experiences, especially in the sex work, OnlyFans, porn industry world.
Okay.
Because as a only consumer, you know,
My OnlyFans.
right? I have my opinions on it, and again, kind of that like looking for more authenticity, but also just the amount of porn that's out there.
Yeah.
So much.
It's oversaturated.
It's an industry that has just as many problems, you know, where there's a lot.
If
So,
not more than some industries, you know.
right? And
Yeah.
just, there's across the board, whether it's queer, whether it's straight, whether it's, you know, whatever kind of porn being produced, there's a lot of different pros and cons.
Yeah.
So super curious, first and foremost, like what drew you into kind of going into the OnlyFans world, going into the sex work world?
Well, money first. You know, it's nice as a supplemental income. I wouldn't necessarily promote it to anybody as a main source of income. At least not up front. You got to put a lot of work in or get lucky, you know?
Yeah.
And that's 1 in a million, you know? So, I would say money. And then I've always been like a sexually liberated person. I felt like I'm a little hornier than the average person, I feel like.
Love.
So it wasn't hard for me to get into it, something I can enjoy.
Yeah.
When I started, I wasn't really in the gym fitness thing, and OnlyFans is what got me into it. I'm happy about that. It's a double-edged sword, though, you know, kind of thing.
Right.
So I've gotten a lot of, like, confidence in myself and in how I look because of the gym, but also you become more critical of yourself. You get more body dysmorphia because now you're comparing yourself to a lot of other people when you get into content creation. So there's like a lot of negative drawbacks to getting into it.
Yeah.
That a lot of people aren't prepared for before they get into it. And that's why a lot of people will like randomly drop their OnlyFans, and then in 2 months it's over.
Right.
You know, it fizzles out because they're not actually like dedicated to it. They don't want to actually make it happen.
Right.
It's a job. It's still a job.
Sex work is real work, and
Yeah.
that's why I won't do it. It's because I don't want to
really
do
is.
more work.
You gotta set up the cameras. When I film, it really does take 2 to 3 hours, and that's setting up cameras, making sure you're in the right lighting, things like that. And I mean, my stuff is still super amateur. Obviously, I don't have like anybody helping me with any of it. It's just me and the other person making it work. But you still want to make it look good for the people.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. You're like, if I'm going to put this out there.
If you're going to see my dick, I want you to make sure it looks good.
Yeah. Not like the DL dick pics on Grindr that are taken like a microwave.
I have a toilet that's got shit in it.
Oh,
I hate that so much.
I have had that happen before.
I hate that. Flush your toilet before you take a nude.
Also, maybe move away from the toilet.
Yeah.
It's not the most scenic background.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a lid. You can shut it.
Literally, shut
You don't
the
even
lid.
got to flush. You can shut it.
I don't care about the other things. I have had like a used toilet in a picture, and I'm like, diva. It couldn't have been that good of a picture.
That takes me out. I don't care how fat the ass is. If I see shit in the toilet, I'm like,
No.
you just dropped that from that.
Do you shit with that ass?
Yeah, right.
Yes. Like the answer, no.
There are some things I do, like accidents happen, but I do want to keep, some things private.
Right? You have good pictures of yourself, and so that makes sense of kind of similar thing with the video of like, you want it to be good.
Yeah.
And then obviously then all the editing aspect and all the posting aspect. I mean, as a drag queen, I do my fair share of social media stuff, and I now have respect for like the Charlotte D'Amelios of the world. I'm like, oh, this actually is a lot of freaking.
There's actually like a lot of similarities, I think, between drag and sex work. I mean, and a lot of sometimes there is direct overlap.
Right.
But I mean, when it comes to it, there's a lot to do with like your aesthetic and dealing with your body dysmorphia, creating a brand for yourself, things like that go into both. So I think like sex workers can learn a lot from. I think that's why sex workers and drag queens are kind of like that.
Totally.
Because there is a lot that goes into each other that ties into each other that we can learn from each other.
And both of our taxes look wild.
Yeah.
Like it's we're trying to report all the things and be like,
write-offs are nice.
Love a write-off.
Those are nice.
Love a
I
write-off.
will say, if I do anything, purchase a single T-shirt that's going to be filmed at some kind, I'm going to write it off.
Absolutely.
Gas up here is a write-off.
Yeah, we love a write-off. Yeah, I'm like,
make sure.
I think I'm doing all of that right. I know I am.
I
IRS
probably should get an accountant.
Yeah. I'm like, I feel like the IRS doesn't care enough about me.
Right.
I'm not making
I'm the
enough.
low guy,
Exactly.
Maybe once I'm making once I'm in the top 5%, then we can talk about getting an accountant.
Right. I'm like, I'm not going to pay somebody to take my money that I think the government's going
to
take. I'm like,
the government can just tell me if I fucked up.
Exactly. Oh, they will.
Yeah.
And they will.
Might take a minute, but they'll get there.
Yeah. Nope, I hate it. But I agree with that. I think because it's both like a unique field that obviously is taboo in some areas or doesn't have a rule book for it. It's not like, oh, I want to be an accountant. These are the steps you take.
Right.
Drag and sex work, it's kind of like, I think I'm going to
we're all just winging it.
Girl, literally. No one knows what's going on 24/7.
No.
But some people just take better videos than others.
Yeah.
And spend a little bit more time.
And build a better brand and buy followers. No, I'm just kidding. But they know
that buy followers. Fuck it.
Yeah, everybody's doing it. So,
had
a couple bot cleanups, on Twitter. It hurts my feelings just a little bit.
Right.
At least I've never paid any of them though.
Right. I have my bot followers sometimes, and it's some like random Russian porn whatever bot, and I'm like, okay, diva, if you're giving me a follow, I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, you're only helping my engagement look better, but it's fine.
Literally, I'm like, like and leave a comment, girl. Have fun. Stay a while you're here.
At least the link in bio stuff is starting to go away on the Twitter feeds.
I did kind of love that. For a while, I would comment on my friends' photos,
link
like
bio, yeah,
link like horny kind of things, or like or like the sugar daddy, like, I will pay you $500, please DM.
Yep.
And I would start getting flagged by Instagram.
And you can't say sugar daddy or else all the bots end up in your DM.
Exactly.
Don't say it. Yeah. Make the mistake.
Yeah. Oh, I would love a sugar daddy. It
would be nice.
I don't have to work for my money. I'm like, I have no feeling of like everything I want to earn in my life. If someone wants to give it to me.
Yeah. Same. Anybody wants to just come in and pay these bills. I'm open and available for that. And then I'll have more time to go to the gym and do things. If you are into that kink, there's that kink, where it's like get bigger.
Yeah.
Whoever's into that.
Yes. I have one time on Grindr, somebody was like, I'm into that. They're like, send a pic, and I sent a pic, and they're like, oh, you're already big. I said, oh! I was
You
like,
could have been like, well, if you give me the money for it, I can get bigger.
right? I was like, then this, I can do it.
Right.
Commit to this lifestyle.
Isn't this what you wanted?
Oh, it gagged me a bit. I was like, I'm gonna log off.
I guess I want to take Twinks and just like,
I guess
really
the
freaking
Twinks
bulk
always win. I hate it.
They're all demons.
Pride, and there's the demon in the middle, and it's demon Twinks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious too, because you mentioned obviously like the body dysmorphia and kind of like, I mean, I have no desire personally to like look at myself during sex, because I know sex is a fun thing that a lot of the times probably not the most flattering for like an average Joe Schmo having sex. So I've never recorded myself. I've done like stuff in front of a mirror once or twice, but I'm like,
I love a mirror.
I'm also, there's a lot going on. I'm
Yeah,
overstimulated.
right.
I'm like, I can't focus, Eva. I'm like, I gotta lock in.
It does turn things around a bit. Yeah.
So for you, like, what was that process of watching yourself going through that, and especially with this kind of like gym kind of body change? Was there a lot of pressure on you?
Yeah, I wouldn't say pressure. The pressure is all from me. You know, it's a lot of pressure to put on yourself when you're doing the OnlyFans thing. And you're like, I have to get buff because I have to fit these societal standards of what beautiful is, so that I can make money and pay my bills and live not on the streets.
Yep.
So it's a lot of pressure in that regard. I've never been like a not confident person, even before the gym. Like I didn't have a smoking body or anything, but I was like, I'm not ugly,
right?
You know,
You're
I've
like,
always had
still
like
my
a
fantasy.
sense of confidence in myself. I never really degraded myself. I never thought I was like the most beautiful person,
Right.
I would say I got used to it, just sending nudes and to guys. You know, you get used to it and figuring out your angles, and that's when I was like getting feedback from those. I was like, maybe I could do the porn thing. Maybe I could. And it started way back in the day, probably not chat your bait, but whatever the other ones are, you know?
Yeah.
Things like that. Started with that kind of stuff, kind of more on the live side, figuring out what looks good on camera, what my angles are, things like that, and getting used to seeing myself naked in front of one. Now, mirrors and stuff I love.
Right.
You know, I get really into it. Yeah, you've probably seen my most recent post. So, like, you know, there was a mirror, and I love mirrors. If there's a mirror in the room, I'm going to utilize it because you can get some great angles from that.
Girl,
And
again, sex work and drag is the exact same, because if I see a mirror, I'm also stopping and looking in the mirror and taking photos.
Yep. And, you know, as long as you can build your own confidence, that's part of why I'm in therapy, too. So, you know, so that I can remember not to attach the financial value to the body value. And it helps. I would recommend everybody go to therapy.
Ooh, I also recently just got back into therapy. I've always been a therapy diva.
Same.
Went on a period without, and it's always amazing. We always support therapy. Get back into it, talk with somebody. But that makes a lot of sense. It's kind of like through that repetition and liberation of your body.
Any artwork you do, like if you're trying to do painting, you just got to keep doing the painting until you get good at it.
Drag has also helped me with my body image a lot, which has been interesting. I talked about it in therapy, where I am actually like at the biggest I've ever been in my life, and I'm very okay with it. Like I love how I look, and I think because drag plays with gender, plays with all the things, it's like fun. It's a celebration.
Yeah.
But that's been through having to do it all the time, having to like,
because when you started, you probably had looked in the mirror and were like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this.
Right.
But you
and I said,
doing it.
That's a man. I said, oh man, that's a man. Yeah. And then like you look at videos and you're like, oh my gosh, I hate how, you know, the classic stuff of I hate how I look, da 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 da. And then you start to like learn your angles, learn your stuff. And then it's kind of like, not to be like you have to love your body, but it's like, girl, you got this body.
Yeah. It's the only one you're going to have. You might as well love it.
Literally.
Yeah. And drag queens are the first people to tell you that.
Literally. Meanwhile, my body is Casper mattresses. Usually I have my silicone titties on. I'm like, nothing about me is real.
Right. But
love
you
your
can
body.
make yourself look like it, you know? So it's, and that's really a lot of anything, is just learning how to accentuate what is working for you, you know?
Right. And having pride in just like who you are and just owning it. You know?
Yeah. Confidence will take you really far. I'll tell you that much.
Girl.
Before the gym, I was having sex with some of the finest men I've ever met. Never touched a weight in my life. And I was like, how is this happening? But it's really just because you got to approach every person with confidence.
The hottest thing ever is confidence.
Yeah, it'll take you so far.
Is.
And it's hard to build, but once you get it, don't let it falter.
Yeah.
Because it'll take you anywhere.
And own it. Like,
Fake it till you make
confident.
it. Yeah.
Oh my God, fake it till you
Rihanna
make
says it, and look at how it's worked out for her.
In the beginning, did you feel like you were faking it till you make it?
Yeah,
kind of
for
thing?
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Especially like the first, like, because like I said, I've been doing this for 4 years. The first 2 years were rough. Like, you're barely making anything off of it. I'm like posting nudes. I'm like, why am I doing this?
Right.
Nobody's paying for this.
You're right.
Why am I posting all these freebies online if nobody's going to subscribe? Sometimes still I get really irritated about it, especially when it comes to like algorithms and stuff, and you're having to work against algorithms.
Mhm.
It can be really frustrating, but you just got to remember, like, I know I'm sexy.
Yeah.
I know I'm getting sexier.
Period.
So I'm not going to let it affect me that much.
It's stupid billionaires making
My
out
therapist would be so proud of me for that.
I love that. No, that's. I mean, it's so easy to, especially with like your art, because your sex work is attached to your OnlyFans is literally you.
Right.
And I feel that similarly with drag, of like, this is me, it's an extension of myself. And so when I'm not getting that reception, whether it be from external factors or whatever, it is like a ding to me. It does hit personally. And so it's so easy to take it personally when it might not even be you. It might be something bigger than
And
you.
it's probably not you. It's probably whatever they're going through in their own self-image issues. That's what I've learned is like, I don't get a lot of hate on Twitter, but it's Twitter and it can happen. And usually when it is, it's somebody with no followers who's sad and just venting on the internet, screaming into the void. And I just got to take a step back and remember, you're the unhappy one, not me.
I'm also like, that's a lot of effort.
Yeah.
My Twitter, my burner, I'm like, I'm not engaging. I'm just doing what I gotta do.
I'm getting better at not engaging, especially with political stuff. I'm like, you know what? You don't have to actually respond to everything.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God. No, it's
nice when you can just put things down. You can be like, you know what? I'm going to scroll past that.
Technology is brutal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, and I would assume that other content creators go through such similar things and like feelings and then pressures and societal, all the things. Is the like kind of community of people doing porn, people doing sex work, is it pretty tight knit in Colorado, would you say? Or is it?
I wouldn't say tight knit in Colorado. I don't know that it's tight knit anywhere. I will say that a lot of us support each other, but there's a lot of vindictive people. There's a lot of toxic people in the industry. A lot of drug problems, which turn into other problems.
So
it varies from person to person. Everybody I've worked with in Colorado has been the sweetest person, which isn't very many, but they're all sweet. And I can't wait to work with a couple more people. I think that they're all going to be sweet. I haven't really met any terrible people in Colorado yet. I know, like, LA has got their fair share of questionable people.
Girl, LA's scary.
Yeah.
I'm not built for that.
Yeah. I'd like to visit, but I'll go in and fly in and make my collabs happen with people, but I won't.
Do a little week.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to necessarily live there and be in that life. We'll cross that bridge later on, maybe.
Yeah. Well, and this is so silly, but something I love to do is not to be like support local art, but like support local art.
Support your local artists, your local sex workers. If they're go-go, like people do. I'm white. I have no rhythm. So I will not be go-go dancing. I'm so sorry. But somebody else in Colorado and Denver specifically is go-go dancing at the club right now.
Yep.
Go tip them.
Yep. Tip your go-go.
Tip your drag queens. Tip your go-go dancers. Tip your sex workers if you have the opportunity to.
Yeah.
Because they're putting in a lot of work to get you an oxytocin boost.
Baby, yes. And I think it's so, for me, I on Twitter have had those posts that pop up where it's like, comment or retweet if you're like in Colorado, and then I find out so many of the like creators and so many of the people doing sex work and OnlyFans, and then it's like fun because it's like I'm supporting local, and it's also fun, hot sex, like real humans, and it feels cooler than like the random LA $1 million gay porn in all the studio.
And it's nice to support guys who, like you said, don't have this huge following yet, who aren't making this studio level money, who don't have like all these other gigs that they're getting from club promotions and stuff like this. So it's nice when you can, because most of the people who don't have a huge following, our prices are under $10 for our subscriptions. It's like, it's less than Netflix, and you're getting a lot more, I think, out of it than Netflix is giving you. You're not busting a nut from Netflix, are you?
No.
Maybe you are.
Well,
maybe. There's a couple programs.
I feel like I've tried.
That somebody has probably done it on. But I can help a lot more than Netflix can. There's a lot of people in this industry who can, and it's nice to support, people who are local to you.
And I feel like the local divas, this is a lot of comparisons to drag. It's silly, but it's like I'm
true.
It's so true of like the local girls are working harder than your Rue girls. Your local sex workers are working harder than your men.com.
They are.
People. I am seeing productions. I'm seeing so much work. I'm seeing OnlyFans that aren't behind extra paywalls. Hate that.
Yeah.
Hate an extra paywall of like you subscribe and then nothing is available, and you're like, diva.
And they're charging pay-per-view every time. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
It's
just
annoying.
for you to shower? I'm like, it's not even anything.
This is what what some people are posting on Twitter for free.
Literally.
You wanted me to subscribe to this so that you can promote other things that you're making me pay for. It's kind of crazy.
Exactly.
It's kind of crazy.
So frustrating, but my local divas are putting it all out there, multiple times, all the time.
And you see these studio people or these people who do have these like hundreds of thousands of followers, and they'll put out like 1 or 2 videos every other week with a new person, and then other than that, it's like solo stuff. And solo stuff, that's what most of my stuff has been. Just I'm in Pueblo, it's hard to make things happen
For sure.
But those people who have a huge following and are making all this money, they're paying all their bills with it, they're able to travel with it. You can make a lot more happen than just 2 a month,
right?
And I know like local people, Corey Anders, who was on my most recent collab,
love.
He is constantly putting out new content, doing new collabs. Everybody should go support him too, because he's working his ass off doing that.
Yep.
He just graduated college too, while also working, while doing the OnlyFans stuff. So he's probably one of the hardest working sex workers in Colorado.
Period.
Honestly.
Also, amazing content.
Yeah.
Amazing content.
It's a cutie too. With
The
great
Colorado divas, we tear it up. Like y'all, like all of the Colorado sex work scene is so cunty. It's fun. It's like, I feel like a new breath, like in it, of it's not the sex robots.
A lot of hairy daddies here.
Love my hairy daddies here.
Which I guess I'm kind of like in that realm sort of too. I've shaved recently and people love or hate it.
That's always a funny thing on Twitter, is when it's like, should I shave? And people are like, please don't shave, I'm begging you. And then you have other people being like, please shave, you're disgusting.
Right. It'll start a war. But I have my Britney moment sometimes. Yeah. It's not this hair, but it's this hair that I'll shave off every summer. I'll have a moment.
Yeah, it's just like a little control.
So get rid of something and see what's going on under there.
Some gays bleach, some gays shave. It's all different.
It'll be back in 3 weeks, promise. It grows back fast.
That's fierce. Yeah. I'm marking my chest hair with you too, of like, because I wear so many titty bibs almost all the time, I never shave, so I'm like, it's kind of perfect.
Yeah, you don't have
to have it. I shave my face obviously, but don't look too close on this. But yeah, I guess kind of one of my like final questions or thoughts for you is, what does it look like of boundaries? Because let me back it up a little bit. For me with Zackarina, Zach and Zackarina is like, the lines are very blurred at this point. My life is very intertwined between the two, and Zackarina is very much an extension of me, and it's still so important to find those boundaries of where does Zackarina start, where does Zach end? Do you feel that when it comes to like Chad versus G, of like, is it an extension of you? Is it just you? Yes. Is it a persona?
For sure. I think there's definitely a persona in there. I love to like role play and get into like a character for sure when I'm doing my videos, but there is a slight separation, but I do think that there's a lot of overlap there, because, the horny motherfucker who was out here fucking all the time for free is the same person who's doing it for money. So, it's there's a lot of overlap with it. And I am working with my therapist, like I said, on kind of defining those boundaries, really learning how to navigate those boundaries and where Chat is. That's why I'm doing things that are outside like this, that are outside of just sex work, to humanize me and figure out what kind of other lanes I fit in. And it's been interesting, honestly. I think losing my main job recently and getting more invested in the OnlyFans thing has overlapped it a lot more.
Yeah,
I will say that there's not like that work-life balance that there once was. It's all kind of fusing together at this point.
Totally.
But it's not a bad thing,
right?
Do
you feel like G and doing sex work has like taught you more about yourself?
For sure. Yeah. I definitely learned I'm into a lot more than I thought I was. Definitely. Like, I was definitely a little bit more basic before the OnlyFans stuff, and I've gotten into more things. I definitely feel like the confidence has increased because of that.
Yeah.
It's just been a wild ride, honestly.
I love that.
I can't wait for it to get wilder.
Yes. I feel like when I've just even having like sex in my life, I've let go more and experimented more and tried new things and like embraced the things that might have made me like uncomfortable before, has helped me grow in my confidence, learning obviously new fun things, but also just like letting go, kind of to that whole point of the more nudes you send, the more comfortable you feel in your skin, and like having that moment. So I can only imagine too of like doing it more and more, like there's so much growth that happens both ways.
Every time I film, it gets a little bit easier to film, and I don't like to like just show up, film, do my thing. A lot of times, like, we're gonna smoke and chill, hang out, relax a little bit, get to know each other, then we might get into it. Start off with like making out and stuff. You know, you don't want to just jump right into the fucking.
Nobody.
You want the
never
move.
fun.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, unless you're doing your anal ass up, whatever.
Right.
You do.
There are a lot of people who make it the robotics though, you know, and I'm like, that's a lot of what's that shit called? Triminex? The injectables?
Yeah.
That's a lot of work, and I'm not willing to go that far. We're going to make sure we're into it with each other.
Yeah. God forbid we have fun. God
Yeah.
forbid we enjoy
Right.
it. You
Yeah.
know?
You know, you should always have fun at work.
And-
Isn't that what they always say?
Literally, if you like whatever, love something, you're never gonna work a day in your life.
Right.
Like,
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to not work a day in my life. I'm trying to have a fun time.
Girl, that is my
And
goal.
if you're having fun, it shows on camera, and then that really translates.
Exactly. I sometimes I'll watch stuff and I'm like, are we having fun anymore?
Yeah.
I don't think we are.
Yeah.
And it's not just like like it's a little rough.
And
I'm
it's a
just like,
photo off.
no,
Yeah,
no one's
yeah.
having fun.
Yeah, and like silence. Like I hate a silent video. Like there's no moaning. There's no whimpering. Anything. I would like tell me. Like I get a little verbal. Talk to me. You know, I want to hear. Like, you don't have to be a full conversation, but
Right.
I would love to. You acknowledge that this feels good for you. You know that you're having a good time.
Yeah, it's not a silent film. It doesn't
Right.
need to be like the cue cards coming up of like,
Right.
ooh, you know.
I haven't had it happen yet, so thankfully I've never had like a quiet man in bed. But the day it happens, I'm gonna be like, all right, we could just we're gonna put this on the burner and
Right.
figure something out.
You're like, hey, are you still there? Like, are we?
Yeah.
Are we all good?
I could just use my silicone cheeks if I wanted this. You
Girl,
know? That's
literally.
definite also.
Like, okay, because I always see the divas rocking with them, and I've always considered it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say sex toys have come a long way. They're getting pretty great, and
Yep.
you don't make as many mistakes.
Yeah. Especially like growing up and it being the like homemade, figure it out, put the
Right.
sponges in a cup, put the like thing over top, and like
Cucumbers
put it
and stuff.
between
Yeah.
the couch cushions to like
And now you don't have to do all that. Now there's a literal butt.
Yeah,
And then you can just fuck it.
that does exactly what you
Yeah.
need. Yeah. So
Sometimes
get
with
that
the whole dick on the other side. Yeah.
I have seen those. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Buy them for me.
period.
Buy them.
Again,
I'll use them.
Sugar daddies are welcome.
Yeah.
This is a safe space for sugar daddies. Any and all.
Go
Any
ahead.
money, any financial contribution.
Anything you want to see me use, I got you.
Yeah. You buy it, he'll use it.
Yeah.
I love it. If you had to like change or adjust, or if you had a magic wand to like reshape how society talks about sex work, what would you want to change? What would you want to like reshape?
That it's easy money.
Ooh, okay.
I think that's why it's oversaturated, is because everybody thinks it's going to be easy, and so everybody just jumps into it.
Yeah.
Just because these girls and guys who create a following from something like doing something stupid that goes viral,
Mhm.
just because they then take that following and that viral moment and make an
Yeah.
OnlyFans and make so much money off of it, doesn't mean that's going to work for everybody. And you probably haven't had a viral moment yet.
Yep.
You know,
And they're
I haven't had a viral moment.
they're hard to make.
Yeah.
Hard, and you can't really control it.
Right, especially with these new algorithms, you know, unless you're talking racist shit all day.
Literally, unless it's a bad kind of.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can know.
Then you can make $1 million if you had to say the N-word on camera.
Literally
So-
make a GoFundMe. Like it's so hard to do that and to create that, or to then if you want the super viral, you got to do something so out there.
Or out there, yeah.
I remember when the guy with the sand in his asshole video. I mean, I saw that all around.
He probably made so much money from that.
Absolutely, but I was also.
But who is willing to put sand in their asshole to make this happen? Are you willing to put sand in your asshole to make some money?
I go to the beach and I'm like, I hate this.
Yeah.
I get sand in my
I don't.
crack.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
like,
even want it in my
hate
crack. I don't want it there.
No. Oh,
So in my hole, no, I'm good. But you know what? Kudos to him.
oh, I mean,
Going
yeah,
above and beyond for the content.
truly. I'm like, not all heroes wear capes. Sometimes they do.
Sometimes they pour sand out of their assholes. Yeah.
I respect it. I'm like, someone out there needed to see
to
this.
see that, and I have never seen it, so it was something new for me.
I mean, I was kind of one of those. But I did have a lot more questions afterwards, where I was like, "How do we do that? Did the sand taste like vanilla afterwards? Like what?
Maybe it was coconut.
A pina colada?
A beach vibe. Yeah. It's very possible. Maybe a little Malibu rum in there, and
Weird. That'd be kind of fierce. You're making mocktails in
Yeah.
your ass.
yeah, that's a talent.
That would be fierce. Drag Race talent. A girl gets on set. Ping pong balls are so
Right.
season. Full cocktail shaking. Oh my god.
Yeah, let me
you're
see.
shaking it. You're twerking to like mix the beverage.
Get an island breeze on the rocks, please.
Wait, Long Island.
Yeah.
Just every liquor in there. Oh my god, Chad. I have good news and bad news. What do you want first?
Let me get the bad news.
We're coming to the end of our episode.
Okay.
Oh.
Went by really fast, to be honest. Yeah.
Oh, good time.
Yeah.
Friends.
It's easy to have conversation with drag queens.
I mean, and easy to have conversations with you, which is our good thing. This was so much fun.
Yeah, it was.
For coming
sure.
on.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited that I get to come to Denver and see, like, meet queens in Denver, get to know the community a little bit better, get to put myself out there a little bit more so that people here know me. And I'm really excited about the future, in Colorado.
You are always welcome in Denver. Love you so much. Where can the people find you online and in the world?
Yeah, Twitter is CStanGo92, B-Sky is CStanGo, and then Instagram is COChad92.
COChad92.
Yeah, Colorado Chad.
If you're not already following Chad /
Do it.
Do it. It's
like, subscribe, become a fan.
Like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications.
Yeah.
Do all the things. Honestly, your content is very amazing. I'm a picky diva, and I really appreciate it. Again, the timeline or the feed is also very entertaining. You're gonna get good opinions.
Everything.
You're gonna get ranking of divas. You're gonna get Skyrim and Oblivion stuff. You're gonna get all the moments, and so it's very entertaining. So in between, I'm like, oh, I do agree with that take. I said like to that one too. I'm liking all the tweets.
You're gonna get some nice dick, maybe a little ass, and a whole lot of opinions and nerdy shit.
And that's exactly what you want out of anything, right?
Yeah,
You
I'm
want
the
to get
perfect man for you.
Hey, and if you are looking for the perfect man,
I'm right here.
He's right here. He's right here. And while you're online following all of Chad's accounts, make sure that you also follow Pillow Talk. Pillow Talk Dr. Z, that's Pillow Talk DRZ, is the handle for all of the social medias, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it, we're on there. That's where we post clips, but then also have our full episodes that come out every single Tuesday. So mark your calendars. It's kind of like you've just done that Monday, and I was like, ugh, Monday. So then there's a little something waiting for you on Tuesday.
Something exciting.
Right? Maybe it's your drive to work podcast. Maybe it's your like snuggling up in bed podcast. But wherever or whenever you are listening to it, you can watch it wherever. So YouTube, Spotify. Also, you can watch the video of it on Spotify. You got to see us live and in person. We're beautiful. We're amazing. We're stunning.
Well, get dressed up. You might as well come see.
Right? Exactly. So make sure that you're checking us all out. We do have a huge thank you to our sponsors, Denver Element. Thank you for helping support our local queer scene, our local sex work scene, our local drag scene. We are really appreciative of y'all, as well as all the work that y'all do. HIV, STI testing, mental health services, you name it, they do it. And a huge shout out to Dude IDK Studios for having us. They're amazing for all of your podcasting needs. Check them out. They also do really cool comedy shows in the nighttime. So if you want to watch some comedy, watch some podcasts, this is the place to go. But on behalf of our entire crew, our sponsors, and our beautiful cast of Chad, my name is Dr. Zackarina Jenny Ho. Good night and big balls. Thank you.